Well, I'd love to get back to some positive content, but we got to talk about the sad state of reality, which is the automotive industry. It is just abysmal with quality right now. And we're going to go through recalls, starting with the latest recall on the Nissan Rogue. This actually affects a lot of SUVs. This new recall is 737,000 units. Now, some of these recalls I'm going to show you like aren't the end of the world, but it just kind of goes to show how many vehicles are affected and maybe, just maybe, the lack of testing that's going on, like real world testing in these vehicles. Now, this is a car, the Nissan Rogue, I actually think it could be kind of a RAV4 competitor if it was reliable, but these VC turbo engines, it's a variable compression turbo engine, 1.5 liter, 3-cylinder engine. Just don't buy it unless you're only gonna keep it in warranty. If you keep it in warranty and you're just cycling it or leasing it, fine, but be prepared that this thing could seize main bearings like a lot of these other vehicles. So this is new. Nearly 324,000 Rogues have been recalled because the VC turbo engine bearings can seize and lead to engine failures or fires. Also, the rear window in the Rogues is blowing out at alarming rates. Just another quality issue with these. I would stay away from these personally. They're really nice cars if they would just not put the VC turbo in these things. I think it actually would have been a decent buy. Now, I do think Nissan's doing the right thing in that they are extending the warranties on these engines. So here they say that Nissan is doing a 10-year, 120,000 mile warranty extension that applies to the long block engine assembly, which is what is affected in this VC turbo. However, you just don't want to be stranded and you don't want to be in a situation where you're out of car, you have a loaner, it's a huge pain in the butt. So I would personally stay away from any of these Nissan models that have the VC turbo until they get this figured out. And then the EPA strikes again because Ford is having problem with the EGR valves in all of these vehicles. 2025s, the Mustangs, Rangers, Mavericks, Explorers, Escapes, Broncos, Bronco Sports. Not huge, but it kind of proves that this invasive EPA culture in everything is really just overcomplicating and making our vehicles unreliable. And I don't know why this one struck me funny today, but Ford got the Explorer headlights recalled because they turn in the wrong direction. So 35,700 Explorers recalled because, you have those adaptive headlights, so you turn left and the headlights are supposed to turn left. They were turning right when people turn left. Oh my goodness. Gotta love software. And don't we wish we were back in the days where headlights were just headlights, just a power wire going to headlights and maybe even halogens in there that we could upgrade to LEDs that were just simple. So this says that the control module software will be updated by the dealer or an over-the-air update. It's just funny that everything software is eating our cars. And we're going to see more and more and more of these problems. And then as things get updated, it'll break other things. That's kind of how software works in a lot of these industries. It's so hard to QA and test every single permutation of all these vehicles and pieces of software. Or how about this one? Ford Super Duty trucks drive shafts are detaching. Seems like kind of a problem. You don't really want to lose your motive power. This says it affects more than 11,400 model year 25 and 26 F-250 and F-350 trucks. And this is crazy. I mean, this is like things that have been in place in manufacturing for a long time. It's actually a welding issue. It says that this is due to the degradation. The spindle at the friction weld station did not reach sufficient speed to provide acceptable weld energy. So not enough penetration on the weld, and these drive shafts are detaching. That's wild. Your symptoms: you may hear a loud noise or feel vibration if the aluminum drive shaft separates. Yeah, I would say you'd probably feel that. And then the Kia Telluride and the Kia K4 seatbelt buckle problems, they basically don't latch properly. 2027s, 2026 Kia Tellurides and K4s, not that big a deal. I mean, who needs their seatbelt anyway, right? And it's only in the third row, in the center, so it's probably a kid. At least it's not you. I'm kidding. And so far, by the way, Ford has 17 recalls in 2026, according to this. This was on March 6th. Ford has another backup camera recall, more than 1.7 million vehicles. I always get a kick out of these because they're software updates and they just continue to happen. And you wonder, how do they keep messing up the software? Well, as the whole car gets all these software modules, you're just going to see this more and more with everything. It's kind of frightening because all the software, reads data from your wheel speed sensors, your ABS modules. Hopefully they keep the bad engineering out of that, but it's just limited to things like backup cameras. It's not the end of the world, but hopefully it's not touching the stability control systems. Even Toyota getting in here with 590,000 Highlanders and Highlander hybrids. They're recalled due to some seat lock issues in the second row seat. Problem can occur after the occupant has adjusted the seat back, and then it might not lock in place, and they could get injured in the event of an accident. Not a huge deal. Well, it would be if you got into an accident and that happened, but kind of just goes to show that these things just keep popping up. Quality issues keep popping up over and over and over with all manufacturers, even Toyota. And there were some updates. You guys might remember the Ford death wobble case with, the ball joint issues and some bearing issues. You've seen those videos of Fords just going down the highway and their wheels shaking, and it looks like it's just going to fly off the truck. This has taken another turn. It looks like it's going to go back to court. Ford, by the way, Ford has been fighting this. And this is what all these companies do. They fight it and they say, well, it's not a common problem. So they'll take these little subtle differences in the cases, and then they try to say that they're all different cases so that they can't get a class action going. It's really dirty what these manufacturers do to try to get out of taking responsibility for building good vehicles. Then Volkswagen and Audi are being sued. If you've got this engine, you might know about this. The 2-liter TSI engine. It was really from like 2018 to 2024 in some cases. All of the cars listed there. The EA888 engine, the 2-liter, it basically consumes too much oil because of defective piston rings. So they're being sued for that. They're claiming that, these cars are diminished in value quite a bit because people start to figure this stuff out from channels like this one. And then the value drops on the vehicles. And that's why this lawsuit's happening. And in the General Motors Lifter lawsuit update, they had a motion to sever, which was denied. I mean, look at it. It's funny how long this has been going on, and you kind of forget how long General Motors has been really messing up their V8s since basically 2014. In all of those models you see there, the Camaros, the Sierras, the Yukons, the Silverados, I mean, everything, right? It's so bad, and they just drag this stuff through court, and they never really have to get punished that much for it. It's wild what's going on in the automotive industry. And this was end of February for Ford. You may have heard this already. 5 million vehicles, or almost 5 million vehicles, after 800 warranty claims, basically like 2021 through 2026, the F-150s, the 250s, the Navigator, the Expedition, the Maverick, Ranger, E-Transit. Essentially what happens is it says that the brake lights, turn signals, and brakes may fail when towing trailers. Once again, a computer module says the integrated trailer module may lose its connection with the vehicle when towing the trailer. So to be clear, it's not the actual tow vehicle losing their brakes. I believe this is just your trailer that would lose its brakes, which is still bad in a lot of cases, but it's just interesting how much software is causing problems with these vehicles. Oh, I have a friend with this car. I should probably tell them about it. 2017 to 2019 Ford Explorers, 412,000. You could potentially have the toe link breaks. Essentially what happens is it gets corroded and it could break under certain pressures, which could cause problems. You could have steering problems for sure. And this one's an interesting one in such a luxury brand. BMW is recalling 59,000 vehicles over risk of fires from the air conditioner wiring harness that may have been damaged while replacing cabin air filters. So you're talking 2024, 2025, M5 Sport Wagon, the M5, 750, 550, i7, 7 Series, i5, and 5 Series. So everything's so complex in these systems, and there's so many wiring looms and less space everywhere behind the dash, in the engine bays. Just funny that replacing the cabin air filter could cause damage. How weak are those wiring harnesses anyway, if you're just replacing a cabin air filter and that could cause a fire? Wow, that's crazy. This is just an example of the last few weeks of recalls that I found. And I haven't done a recall video really in a while because I've been doing kind of powertrain only and website stuff. But I thought I would run through these recalls, and it just makes you think of how the auto industry just kind of keeps progressing in this direction of software eating the vehicle. Complexity will cause more problems, and vehicles are exponentially getting more complex with the software and the systems they have. They ride nice. They're quiet. There's all these drivability things that I think they've improved on with their modern platforms. And I own new vehicles as well, but you can just tell the electronics, the software, everything, it's really causing headaches. I think this isn't going to get better anytime soon. Maybe it's going to be years down the road. I don't know. I think that's where every brand is going at this point. You won't want to own any of these out of warranty. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Till next time.